Hello everyone, this is Suraj Sharma and welcome to our next video on Indian economic problems. We are dealing with Unit 1 Nature and Structure of Indian Economy and the topic is Utilization of Resources Part 2 where we would be particularly focusing on natural resources. And for more details you can email me or you can text me on my cell number. So, what are the objectives of this class? Earlier in last class, we have gone through what are resources and why optimum utilization of resources is so important from a point of view of economic resources. Then we briefed about human resources and an overview for Indian economy. In this class, we'll be particularly focusing on natural resources and we'll see the scenario in Indian economy. Now, first of all, what are natural resources are actually goods and services provided by the nature, and we can part natural resources on the basis of origin, renewability, and utility. On the basis of origin, the two parts are there, that is called abiotic and biotic part of nature. Abiotic part is actually the non-living part such as land, water, air, minerals, etc. And biotic part is the part of nature that is living such as plants and animals, including all organisms. On the basis of renewability, the natural resources can be divided into two parts: renewable and non-renewable resources. Renewable resources are actually those which can be used repeatedly and can be replaced naturally, but within certain limits. For example, water, forests, solar energy, biomass, etc. And the non-renewable resources are those which can be used only once, or these are also called finite resources. For example, fossil fuels and natural gas, coal, etc. On the basis of utility, natural resources can be divided into energy and raw material, where energy resources are actually the divided into two: non-replenishable and replenishable. Non-replenishable means those energy resources whose reservoirs cannot be filled, and replenishable resources are those which can refill or which can refill their capacity naturally. The other thing is raw material, that is minerals, vegetation, food, etc. Now going to the importance of natural resources, as we know that the natural resources provides us food resources, raw materials for industry. It gives us a source of energy. There's much employment generated through the this particular sector, and we actually get biodiversity from these natural resources. Above all, it provides an ecosystem to live in, and ultimately it satisfies the material and spiritual needs of humans. So these are the importance of natural resources, being one of the part of production function. Now one by one we'll go with different types of resources, and firstly we'll talk about forest resources. And as far as India is concerned, India State Forest report of 2009 is actually giving the data for forest resources, and it says that nearly 25% or one fourth of India's total land area is under the forest cover, under the forest and tree cover. And as we know that the national forest policy is committed to have a 33% land area under forest and tree cover, and now we are actually targeting this 33%. Right now we are at 25%. As far as the states are concerned, Madhya Pradesh state has the largest forest cover in India, followed by Arunachal Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, and Maharashtra. And among 6 lakh 50,000 villages 1,70,000 villages are actually located in the proximity of these forests, and depending on these areas for different type of needs like fuel wood, fodder, small timber, bamboo, etc. um, Out of a known world of more than 1 million species of animals, about 75,000 species are found in India. So this is actually the biodiversity in India. And mangrove and wetlands are the home to biodiversity. And as this India State Forest Report 2019 indicates that mangrove cover in India has increased from 2017 to 19 by 54 square kilometer, because the previous assessment was done in 2017. And so as the number of wetlands are also increasing. Now coming back to the livestock, and as we know, this livestock actually provides us milk, it provides us wool, mutton, skin, and it provides us eggs, feathers, and as far as the data is concerned, the 20th livestock census, which was held in 2019 by the Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairying, Government of India, it projects that the livestock population has increased by 4.6% over 2012, because the last census was done in 2012, livestock census. And the if we talk about the numbers, it is actually right now 535.78 million. Female cattle, as we know that we also called them cows. The population of cows has increased by 18% over the last livestock census. Same as we can see that buffaloes population has increased by 1%, sheep's population has increased by 14.1%, goats population has increased by 10%, poultry population has increased by 16.8%. So overall, if you see that India has a large livestock, and we are getting actually the benefits of these livestock by having milk, by having wool, mutton, skin, eggs, and so on. Now, talking about fisheries, and before going to that, we know that India has a big coastline of over 7,500 kilometers, and has an exclusive economic zone of more than 2 million square kilometer. What actually this exclusive economic zone is, it's a sea zone, and it stretches from the baseline out to 200 nautical miles from the coast. This exclusive economic zone, here India has the right marine to capture marine, and to extract minerals, to extract oil, and so on. And more than 1 billion people are actually living in these coastal areas. So this becomes this these coasts and these area become very important for India. And fisheries and aquaculture play an important role in its economy and livelihood. How this is playing an important role, we can see that in 2017 the total fish production was 11.6 million tons in India, and which accounted for 13 million jobs in 2017. These Out of these 13 million jobs, 32% of these jobs were actually represented by women. There is some gender parity also. And we also get export earnings from these marine captures, and fish and fisheries products are actually accounting for 7.2 US billion dollar in 2017. For more details, you can visit this site of UN. Now, focusing on land resources, as we know that India is the seventh largest country in the world as far as we talk about the total area. And here, this can be divided into 91% land and 9% water bodies. This land actually having 43% plains, 30% mountains, and 27% plateaus. The average annual rainfall in India is estimated at 117 centimeter, all because of the monsoon. And rivers are the major source of surface water in India. As we know that Indus, Ganga, Brahmaputra rivers are there, the big rivers are there, and they actually accounted for 60% of the total surface water. A replenishable groundwater potential in India is about 434 billion cubic meters, which is very a good capacity. But we know that the pressure on groundwater in India is increasing day by day, because over 70% population uses this groundwater for its domestic needs, and more than half of irrigation is actually obtained from this source only. So as population is increasing day by day in India, we know that this replenishability of this groundwater is under threat. Next, mineral resources. And as we know that these mineral resources are necessary to become industrial power. And for example, we have mineral resources like iron ore, deposits of coals, mineral oils, bauxite, mica. And if we see particularly iron ore, which is actually very important for iron and steel industries, we find big deposits of iron ore in Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Karnataka. These are the top producers in India. If we talk about coal, it's an energy resource, and Jharkhand, Odisha, and Chhattisgarh are the top producers for coal. If we talk about petroleum, which is a liquid energy, it's found in Maharashtra, Gujarat, and Assam. As we know that we depend on import for particularly the consumption of petroleum, and but we have small deposits in Maharashtra, Gujarat, and Assam. Uranium and thorium, these two are used as atomic energy resource, and we have small deposits in Andhra Pradesh, Jharkhand, Karnataka, Meghalaya, and for thorium in Kerala, Jharkhand, and Bihar. And we are also depending on imports for these atomic energy resources. Other than these, India has deposits of manganese, chromite, nickel, cobalt, bauxite, copper, etc. Now, I want to distinguish between overall resources, mineral resources, and industrial minerals. So industrial minerals are somewhat a different category if we talk about overall minerals. Now, industrial minerals may be defined as minerals mined or processed for the value of their non-metallic properties, which provides for the use in extremely wide range of industrial and domestic applications. And you can see that as a golden rule, you can define it as being non-metallic and non-fuel minerals. But sometimes we have some exceptions for non-metallic minerals. Now, uses are like in construction, household items, everyday domestic, electronics, medicals, etc. For example, from home to industry, we see that ceramic tiles, glass, plastic, salt, sugar, detergent, paper, etc. all made of these industrial minerals, or industrial minerals are used in the production of these different household items and construction items. Now, industrial minerals, as some examples are there: clay, sand, talc, limestone, gypsum, pumice, potash. These are non-metallic and non-fuel minerals, and we have some exceptions of metallic industrial minerals like bauxite, chromite, manganese, etc. Now, what are the points to remember here is that the speed of consumption of these natural resources and the speed of refill or recharge. As we know that if the speed of consumption is very high, and the speed of refill is very low, then we'll be particularly in danger, and our resources are actually in danger. And As we know that all the fossil fuels, the speed of consumption is very high for all these uh, 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 fossil fuels, and speed of refill is actually negligible there. But as far as we talk about water resources, as we know that forest resources, here the speed of refill is higher than the speed of refill for non-renewable resources. And here we can actually take part. Now, how the utilization is possible of these natural resources, and it is very important to have an appropriate technology for that. An application of science and technology increase actually the capacity and capability to use resources. And we have already seen that the economies like USA, Canada, and other Western European economies have used their science and technology to actually increase the capacity and capability to use resources. But unfortunately, African and Asian continent and the countries in Asian and African continent are not able to use or utilize these resources properly. That is why they are called underdeveloped or developing. As far as India is concerned, India is having large mineral wealth and actually an agricultural giant. But pressure on nature is increasing day by day in India, as because of the rapid population growth and desire for rapid economic growth. And we somewhat somehow we are actually talking about now the sustainable development. What that actually sustainable development is taking care for the needs of future generation as far as natural resources are concerned. So we actually want this economic growth, but with sustainability. So we would be having a moderate economic growth and taking care of the natural resources of a particular geographical area. And that is why the conservation of resources is very important, because if we don't have the reservoirs of non-renewable resources, then we'll have to find out some ways out of it, and we'll have to go for renewable resources for energy. And that is what India is doing right now. We're focusing on solar energy, hydropower projects. We're focusing on nuclear power generation, and so on. So thank you so much for being with me, and in the next lecture we will be particularly focusing on population policy of India, and whether the population is a bliss or a problem for Indian economy. Thank you so much.